Staying healthy in retirement, or getting healthy if you're not already, takes more of a focus and more of an effort than when we were younger. A big one for me personally has been my lifelong fight with weight, and once more, I'm going to try to do something about it. Let's talk about it. Hi, my name is Andre. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you are returning, thank you as always so much for coming back. I truly appreciate it. All right, so this one's a little different than my traditional retirement videos, and it's a little more personal as well. I am in the process of just recently started on Semaglutide. Some of you may know it as Ozempic or Wegovy or Zepbound or Mounjaro. But I started this past Wednesday. Today is Sunday as I'm recording this. So I'm about 3 or 4 days in, but wanted to get on here and talk about this a little bit. So I have struggled with a lifelong fight with my weight. I probably started being overweight at 10 or 11. I'm 59 now, and it has been a struggle my entire life. I remember first, elementary school wasn't too bad, but high school was tough. I went to an all-boys high school and stuff, and not being able to keep up and run and play soccer and rugby and all this kind of stuff, and so on. And it was hard. Get to college, you're kind of really interested in maybe pursuing relationships and so on, but lacking the confidence because of your weight. At least that's my story there. So I find that the extra weight, it messes with your confidence in so many things and has nothing to do with your competence, but it may just be something that you just can't find within yourself to just let you shine through because you're always worried about people's perceptions of you. I tried so many things, but nothing seemed to work long term. In 2003, I had gastric bypass surgery. It really seemed to be working for about 2 or 3 years, and that was really great. But eventually, I was pretty much back up almost to where my original starting weight was. I had a revision, a second gastric bypass procedure in 2012. Once again, it seemed to work for a couple of years, but ultimately, the weight came back. It remains an almost never-ending struggle. Being as heavy as I am, the weight gets in the way. I am tired all the time. I rarely want to do things, even things that I enjoy, because of the hassles caused by the excess weight. Walking around is exhausting. Flying somewhere in a regular seat is often uncomfortable. You got to ask for the extra extender belt, and your hips are right up against the things, the arm rests and so on. It's just, I'd really rather not even bother. I pretty much hate clothing, which causes issues since my wife loves clothing. I just want something that fits reasonably well, it doesn't stick to my body, and it's just comfortable to wear. So I've been hearing about the success that many people seem to be having with GLP-1 treatments, like the aforementioned Ozempic and Wegovy and so on. Their more formal names are Semaglutide and Trizepitide. I've been following them for a bit, and they've been prescribed in many cases for several years as medications for diabetes, and their efficacy in weight loss treatment and being utilized for that purpose only came later, more recently. A recent visit to my PCP revealed that I am literally 0.2 away from crossing over into full-blown diabetes. So with that and the weight, I was prescribed Semaglutide. I still have trouble pronouncing that word. I always have to kind of take a second, and yes, Semaglutide. In a previous video, I talked about one of the ways to reduce costs in retirement was to focus on your health, since having lower healthcare costs is a great way to save money. Making that video is a reminder to me that I really have not been focusing on my overall health as much as I should be. I've shared previously that I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure, or CHF, back in 2023. Didn't see it coming, and I've been dealing with that ever since. I've had to pay particular attention to my sodium intake, and I am on medications to assist with managing it. I initially lost a significant amount of weight, but I've regained just about all of that now almost 2 years later. Ugh. I have more and more aches and pains, and doing things are only getting harder and harder. I need to do something. So I'm about to undertake yet another attempt to try to get the weight under control. Here, an additional motivation that my blood sugar level being, where it is, I got to do something. So working on that. When I was prescribed semaglutide recently, we submitted it to my health insurance provider and it was denied. This is with me also having been diagnosed with sleep apnea back in 2018, and I've been using a CPAP since then. I also recently had my A1C, that's the blood sugar stuff, level checked, and it is now at 6.3, which is technically pre-diabetic, but awfully close to being full-on diabetes, which they say at 6.5. So I'm just 0.2 away from that. That was also part of the catalyst for me to try to do something again. I was introduced to the ability to get the treatment by using a compounding pharmacy, which could build a formulation specifically for me, which also adds the B12 that I have been taking since my CHF diagnosis. My PCP sent the prescription over to them and it arrived in a couple of days. On the night of Wednesday, the 21st of May, I took the first dose of semaglutide, and it's delivered kind of like with an insulin needle. It's a little needle. Put it into there and you inject it into your body. I chose to put it into my stomach. Thought it might be painful or whatever. I almost didn't feel it. It was a very, very tiny needle and just slid in. Didn't really feel much of it. So I've been started on the smallest dose. I will be on it for a month. And then if my body tolerates it well, I would gradually be moved up to higher doses till I get to the maximum. That could take 4 or 5 months. It's a series of weekly shots, so this dose for the first 4 weeks, and then I move on to a higher dose in week 5, and so on and so on. The medication is administered by giving myself the injection, like I said, and the needle is really tiny, so if you're concerned about that, not something to really be concerned about. It's a really tiny needle. Like I said, I almost didn't feel it. You just poke it into your tummy, and I almost had to be, did it go in? And I'm not kidding, it really was easy. There. I have hope for this to be an effective long-term tool to help me finally get my weight under control. But of course, I am cautious as to how well it will help me. Maybe as has happened to me many times before with fad diets and other things that I took, boom, you lose a bunch of weight, and this is great, I've lost the weight, and then 2 or 3 years later, you've gained it all back. And I'm hoping for a long-term solution. So maybe this is it, we'll see. As always, this needs to be supplemented with diet and exercise modifications. This always presents one of the biggest challenges for me. On the diet front, I'm a carboholic and I struggle to eat healthy. On the exercise front, it's just tough to stay motivated when just moving is exhausting and painful, far less for moving faster and more in a more energetic manner. So it's kind of a catch-22 situation. You should exercise more, but then when you try to exercise, it's like, this hurts, and then I don't feel motivated to keep doing that because stuff just hurts all the time. But, I know I've got to do something, so we'll see how it goes. Fingers crossed. My plan is to try again. We'll see. All right, my plan for this channel is to continue to focus on all things retirement. So if you're watching this, this is not me pivoting to have my channel be about something else. No, this is still a retirement channel, just as it has always been. However, just like I venture into travel in retirement, I expect to give periodic updates on this health journey in retirement, me trying to get healthier in retirement. That's it. Thank you so much for stopping by. As always, I truly appreciate it. If you've gone through this, I'd love to hear any input that you have in the comments below. If you have questions, feel free to ask them there. I'm no expert. I just started this, but I've been doing research on it for a while and happy to share, anything that I can think of that I can use to help with there. I'm always going to ask for a like, share, subscribe. If you're not subscribed already, please. It doesn't cost anything, and it really helps out the channel as I continue to try to grow it there. So that is it. Thank you so much for stopping by, and as always, in later times.